I am so tired of being a homeowner.
I pay $4,150 every single month for my mortgage.
I am selling my house and I'm getting ready to move back with my parents yet again.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about some home buyer's remorse. Because at least for me, I'm at the very early stages of buying a house right now, basically just seeing what's out there, and clips like what we're about to see constantly pop up on my For You page, and it really does get me a little bit worried. We have a ton of stuff to go over today, along with comments from you guys from previous videos, so if you want to be featured on a future video, leave in the comments down below, but let's just jump right into it.
I am selling my house and I'm getting ready to move back with my parents yet again. I am single. I do have a 9-to-5 job where it does not pay me nearly enough to cover the bills. And I've had this house for about 3 years now, and I am just exhausted. I am drowning, barely surviving, not being able to make repairs because the house is now falling apart, and I have no money in my savings to fix it. I have been saving for the past 3 years. All I've been doing is working and going straight home. I don't go out. I don't spend money on like coffee or anything. I try to save as much money as possible so I could get some money to make repairs for this house to make it nice and comfortable and livable. But I am at my wit's end now, and I'm just tired. I honestly want to leave my job, my 9-to-5 job that's not paying me well enough to even cover the bills. I'm exhausted. I want to leave, but then I'm stuck with this house, and I just don't want any of it anymore. So I'm selling it.
So before I say anything, let's go over to the comments. Owning a home is no joke. It changes your life. If you're not married, it's very hard to maintain because of repairs and taxes. It's basically a necessity to have a dual income household to be able to survive in 2026. Everyone tells me to buy a house, but I'm happy renting and saving $25,000 a year. Being house poor is not worth it. Just imagine the people who have no parents to go back to. That's what I thought about as well. People are drowning out there. Now, I'm not too sure about her entire situation, but saying that she's only had the home for about 3 years means that she bought it around 2022, 2023, the absolute peak of the housing market. Either there wasn't enough research beforehand to see if they could legitimately pay all the bills, or various things could have increased. The insurance, the taxes, on top of repairing things that are falling apart. It seems like she got way in over her head. Just overall, a pretty terrible situation.
I pay $4,150 every single month for my mortgage. Honestly, when I first purchased the house, this mortgage was $3,000, which was really affordable. We have a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house in South Florida. However, after the first year, they increased the mortgage by $600 because it's a new build and they didn't properly account for taxes. Now, this is something that typically happens to homeowners who get new builds here in Florida. It's just something that we didn't know about until it happened to us. A year after that, they increased it to $4,150. So we've been in this house for 2 years, and that is our current mortgage. And we've been paying that mortgage rate since, I believe, October of last year. Actually, it was 6 months later that they increased it, not a whole year. Saying this to say, I am ready to get out of this mortgage just because I just had a baby and I really want to stay home with her. And it's so hard to be a stay-at-home mom when you're literally banking out $4,150 every single month just towards your mortgage.
I don't even know what I'd do if my mortgage increased by 1/3 within just 2 years. That sounds insane. Now, we've gone over this before. A lot of people don't realize with new builds and escrow, your mortgage payment can increase drastically along with being in South Florida. The insurance prices are not great there because of the storms. And her trying to sell it and move someplace more affordable is still going to be difficult. Not too many people want to live in a place where the insurance is either so ridiculous that it makes most homes not worth it, or the insurance companies just straight up won't insure you. So if there's a storm and your house gets destroyed, tough luck. That's definitely not a place that I'd want to live.
I think I fully regret buying a house now. Like, it's not the worst choice I ever made, but it's so expensive. But at the same time, it's exactly what rent would be costing me anyways. I'm almost an hour away from where I want to be and almost an hour away from work. It's a lot of upkeep, a lot of maintenance. I feel like the housing market could crash at any minute, and interest rates were high when I bought it, and so were prices. I rationalized it by telling myself, well, it's the same amount as rent and I should get something back out of it at the end of the day, which honestly at this point might not even be true. And I'm far away from everything and have an hour-long commute. and I'm tired, and I'm in a 3-bedroom house and I live alone. I'm very thankful that I'm able to do this. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know if it was the right choice, and I'm stressing over it right now. And I've only been here for like 8 months. I don't know what to do.
Before I say anything, let's go over to the comments. I bought a house in Austin and I regret it daily, but it's fine. I'm fine. Everything is fine. Am I the only person that thinks an hour commute is normal? Maybe it's more common than you think, but I don't want to be in that situation. It sounds like he doesn't either. Racking up the miles in the gas bill while commuting as well. And he did touch on this a little bit. I think there will be a very big difference in opinion if you decide to buy your house before COVID and after COVID. Obviously, it's a pretty good choice if you bought your house back in 2015 and saw all the appreciation in just the past few years, but that doesn't seem to be happening anymore, especially if you bought in 2021, 2022. You're just now most likely drowning in monthly payments. And another aspect of home ownership right here, a comment from you guys. People buying homes and not realizing there's maintenance cost involved is crazy. Whatever your mortgage payment is every month is the minimum you're going to pay.
It is up to you, the home buyer, to do your own due diligence, guys. You cannot rely on other people to give you the most accurate information for the largest purchase that you're going to make in your life. And listen to this. According to Lexard Capital Management, the typical homeowner pays nearly $1,800 more per month than renters once you factor in taxes, insurance, maintenance, and a potential HOA or PMI payments included. So they're just looking at the mortgage payment when you're coming up with that $900 per month difference. They're not factoring in all the additional costs of homeownership, because when you do, that difference now doubles to $1,800 per month difference between being a renter versus an owner today.
So with all the people that stretched themselves thin over the past few years to buy a home, they're probably not going to be able to afford the almost $2,000 more a month just to be able to maintain everything in the house. And that's why we have so many clips of people talking about being house poor and wanting to get out of their home entirely because it's just not worth it.
As someone who bought a condo in 2022 and regrets it, let me tell you about the things they don't warn you about when buying a condo. You think you're buying an affordable home with a low maintenance lifestyle, right? The cute pool, the landscaping, all of that. But what they don't warn you about is the HOA and how it can literally destroy the value of your home. And if you have a bad HOA like I did, you have absolutely no control of the fees, no ability to know where the money is going, these question marks of what happened with spending, and if they're really bad, they'll make your complex unwarrantable, which makes it essentially unsellable. And when your condo is unsellable and the fees are going up and up, the value of your property crashes.
HOAs are a scam, absolute theft. I learned this lesson the hard way. I did that too. The realtors lied to me about what the HOA covers. That's why I'm sharing my story on here. This condo was the biggest financial mistake of my life. It destroyed me. And now that I'm a realtor, I feel like it's my responsibility to share my story and educate people. I know we talk about Florida a lot on this channel, but with the condo and the HOA issues, that happens a lot in that state, where the fees become so unbelievably ridiculous that people can't afford where they live anymore. But then you try to offload it and there will be zero buyers who want to take on that responsibility. So you're just stuck bleeding money constantly. It is an absolute nightmare.
I really can't decide if I regret buying a home at 25 because it's so hard. Like, it's way more expensive. You got to fix everything yourself. It's nice to say that you own a home and legally it works out great. I guess, property taxes. I have a townhome. We pay $4,000 in property taxes. I don't have a backyard. Like, I don't even have a front yard. Like, I don't know. I think everything's a scam. I think this whole world's a scam, and I feel like I fell for it. But at the same time, renting feels like a scam. And then I buy a home and I still feel scammed. And I'm like, ugh.
I don't know, at least for me, I would never own a townhome. Same thing with a condo as well. Unless the entire area that you live in drastically increases in value, townhomes are a pretty tough sell to people, especially if you compare the appreciation to a single family home. AC unit needed replacing, $15,000. New water heater, $4,000. Fridge and tumbler dryer broke, another $1,500. Then property taxes and HOA fees. Yep, bought in 2021, had to replace a furnace, windows, siding, garage door, light fixtures, tons of plumbing, electrical stuff, bathroom needed a remodel, even buying lawnmowers, rakes, tools, so many tools. All things that I guess people don't think about while purchasing the most expensive thing you're going to buy in your entire life.
Can anybody tell me if I can like sue the flippers that I bought my house from? This house has been a never-ending disaster since I bought it. I bought it in 2022. Prior to me buying it, it was unoccupied for like 4 years. It was foreclosed on, bank owned. Somebody bought it, flipped it, and they really didn't flip it right. It's just been a non-stop issue here, and I'm like at my wit's end. So right now, this is the situation in my kitchen. But just to give you like a brief synopsis of everything that's been happening here, my plumbing does not work. It's currently being like diverted into my backyard because like the exit to the house, I won't show you because it's a mess. It's in my basement and I keep having to like bleach it, but it's like the main sewer pipe to my house backs up into my basement. And apparently homeowner's insurance doesn't cover it. I can't get like a loan. It's just been a nightmare here.
Okay, so I'm cutting it off there because this is just a fraction of the full video. She has a lot more problems with this house, and unfortunately this sounds like the Home Depot DIY flippers that made a substantial amount of money from people buying during COVID times, and now she's left with something that is falling apart. I mean, the sewer is getting backed up into the basement. Oh man. We could go over to the comments. That's what an inspection is for before you buy. That should have all been listed and taken care of in the house inspection. She replied, nope, the plumbing was in working order, but immediately started malfunctioning when I moved in. It was something where you wouldn't notice until you started showering and running the water. The inspector did not catch it. Now, we have seen instances of this as well. It really makes me want to hire one of the content creator inspectors that their entire channels are dedicated to ripping apart any of the homes that they're inspecting, because then at least it means they're going to find something, not just walk through the house, open and close a couple of doors, turn on the shower, turn it off, and walk out saying that everything's all right, because then you could have the same type of problem. If you had an inspector, then it's his fault. You should sue him, sue the real estate company and owners. Here's my advice. Never, and I mean never, buy a house that's been flipped. I can guarantee you they cut every corner possible. While it is getting more difficult to find a house that's older, that hasn't been renovated or flipped with good bones, and then your other option is to buy some sort of new build, which we've talked about on separate videos with this channel, that is just as bad of a decision as well. You really cannot win.
We just bought a brand new Lennar home, new build, and I have just filed now our second warranty claim for crappy plumbing. The first claim was because the cold water tube to the master bathroom was crappy and was leaking behind our wall. And the second claim was because the toilet on the first floor was leaking at the base. And I am so sad and frustrated, and if I see the building manager, I'm gonna take him out by the knees. To top it off, they found an empty beer bottle behind the drywall when they cut that shit open. So thank you, Lennar, for our quality home.
And unfortunately, this happens a lot more than you think. We've even seen the beer bottle clips a few times on this channel, different instances. So okay, you're freaked out with the new builds. You're not going to do that. You're going to find an older home that isn't already flipped, buy that, and then start fixing things up yourself as they fall apart.
So this morning I got a quote for one window. To replace one window in our house. Anyone want to take a gander? How much that's gonna cost? You don't want to know. I'll tell you anyway. $3,700 for one window. They offer 0% financing, 20% down. So yeah, that's gonna help. But
Okay, so this is obviously so ridiculously overpriced. We can go over to the comment section. Don't pay a penny more than 400 bucks. It's just a window. Anything over 500 is fraud unless it's not a standard window. But this adds in yet another headache. You then have to start shopping around, calling all of these different companies to finally get a somewhat reasonable price, probably still not affordable. But then what's your other option? You're supposed to fix everything in the house yourself, become a handyman, while you're already working a full-time job to barely cover the bills in today's world. It's starting to seem like it's really not worth it.
Just starting to see all these stories crop up, especially on Reddit, of people saying buying a house was one of my worst financial decisions. And we did everything correct. We went and we were told buying a house, we got a house, we saved for a down payment, but we're underwater from what it's worth. They're in Austin and values have dropped 25%. and they have to come out of pocket 70 grand. And they're asking, what can we do? Because I don't have the money to sell the house, and it's not going to cash flow if I rent.
It's a
and I'm
problem.
stuck here.
That's right.
And the common advice is just, well, you either have to take on a job to pay for the, a second job to pay for the house, or rent out rooms.
Or prepay the negative equity. Believe me, like I did coming out of South Atlanta.
But I think that story is going to be a lot more common.
You don't lose anything until you actually sell. But if you're hemorrhaging money and you can't afford the bills that are coming in every month, you're definitely losing something.
Renting is throwing your money away. Buying is building equity. That's such a lie. It's such a lie. Okay? They're the obvious ones of throwing your money away: property tax, insurance, okay, and interest on the mortgage, which is substantial, and that goes to a bank and you never see that again. So those are like the main obvious three. But the one thing that people don't talk about, this is what they don't talk about. They say to budget 2% of your home's value a year on maintenance, maintaining what is there, just keeping it the same, okay? 2%. If you own $1 million house, which in Toronto is low, 2% of $1 million is $20,000 a year. Gone. How much is your rent a year? Like $30,000? Okay, those are comparable. And you don't get maintenance costs back. That's just keeping it the same. That's just bugs eating shit and mice burrowing through stuff and plumbing breaking and glue letting go and like blah, blah, blah. Like you throw away your money constantly in home ownership, okay? Get this out of your head.
And now we could take a look at some of the comments. Cool, bought my house 8 years ago. I could sell tomorrow, pay off what's owed, and I have $160,000 in the bank. Well, I can guarantee you that most people won't be in that situation if they buy a home in today's world. I've got over $200,000 in equity. It most certainly isn't a lie. I'm willing to bet that this is almost the exact same story. You bought your house years ago. Buying a home right now is taking on a $500,000 slopped together pile of wood and plastic liability that'll most likely be unable to be insured or lived in by 2035. I get that people are in two different camps right now. If you bought a while ago, good for you. But if no one in today's world could afford those house prices, it's never going to sell, so you're not actually going to see your appreciation.
Raise your hand if you bought a house when the interest rates were low a few years ago, thinking, oh, this is like a little starter house and we'll just live in this for a couple of years. But then the interest rates are like over 6%, and now we're stuck in our not forever house. It's kind of looking like our forever house because I can't afford like a 6.75 interest rate on a mortgage. Like, what? Am I the only one? Are you stuck in your house too? Because this is wild. And we live in the Metroplex where houses are at minimum like $500,000-$600,000. So this is insane.
We have a comment from you guys talking about getting approved for a mortgage. I was approved for a $144,000 mortgage. Realtor couldn't understand why I wouldn't go over $100,000 when my gross annual income was $45K. I'm definitely starting to see that too. Banks are giving out loans to people that they really have no business in getting. And I don't think I have to tell you about the 2008 financial crisis. Hopefully history does not repeat itself.
Let's break down my mortgage payment of $7,120. My principal and interest is $4,350, and that's the actual loan. My escrow payment is $1,800, and this is the account the mortgage company uses to pay my property taxes and my homeowner's insurance. And since my property taxes increased, I have a shortage in my escrow account that I have to pay an additional $970. Not many people know that the escrow is separate from the loan. So I started documenting my real estate journey just so I can share my real numbers, the good and the bad. And that way you can learn from my experience.
Okay, so I just had to put this in because of the crazy number, $7,100 mortgage. I really don't know how people are doing it. And there was an escrow shortage, so the price was still rising. If I was put in that same position, I would definitely regret buying that house.
These are the 3 things that I wish someone told me before I bought my house last year.
Number 1, your mortgage. That's the minimum you pay. Repairs don't schedule themselves, and they never wait until you're ready.
Number 2, I didn't just buy a house. I bought less freedom.
More responsibility, more weekends fixing stuff instead of actually living. And number 3, this is the one that surprised me most. It's not even financial. It's mental weight. The feeling of being stuck because you just committed to a 30-year or a 25-year mortgage. I'm not saying buying a house is bad. I'm saying timing matters more than people think. If you're young and thinking about buying, don't rush it like I did. Make sure you're okay with it, because I didn't realize how much they'd change my day to day.
And I know in these videos I just sound like a complete hater, like renting is the way to go, even though at the very beginning I said that I'm somewhat looking at buying a house. I just think a lot of it is not worth the price and the headache right now, and it seems like I'm not the only one with this thought process.
Half of homeownership is just discovering new ways that water can ruin your house. You know, you think, I bought a house, I made it, but really all you did was enter into a lifelong war against water. You know, and you start learning new words like seepage or grading or moisture barrier, and then the next thing you know, it's 1 a.m. and you're Googling like, what does mold look like and how much is too much? And it's always something like that tiny drip that sends you into a panic, or the small leak that somehow turns into a $1,200 bill. You know, you get one drop of water through the ceiling and you're like, my house is decaying from the inside out. And basements, forget about it. Like, I used to enjoy thunderstorms, not anymore. Anytime it rains now, I'm in the basement looking for leaks like some sort of midnight security guard, you know? So owning a home is really just entering into one long, expensive battle against moisture and humidity.
And insurance won't cover it 80% of the time. It's always something, and it's always $1,200. The creator responds $1,200 is the absolute minimum. And we got another example right here of something that everybody's been dealing with over the past few years, the constant tax increases.
All right, so new property tax bill just dropped. It's $4,961 for half the year in Michigan, where I live. It's almost 10 grand a year now. It goes up 5% a year, basically. My house is probably a little overvalued, but we are just renting. I keep saying this. It's gone up at least over $1,500 from last year to this year. About almost $5,000 for just half the year. We're renting from the government.
And he makes a very good point. Even if his mortgage was completely paid off, just to be able to live where he does, it would cost $10,000 a year. Nobody ever legitimately owns their home, whether you're renting, you have a mortgage, or not. But to end off this video, we got a pretty crazy clip of somebody going all in with the rental empire. We got a comment from you guys right here. People need to get back to thinking of a house as a home rather than an investment. And this person definitely did not think that way.
I bought 22 rental units in only 18 months and honestly regret it.
Just to show you, here's a 2-unit property I own. Here's another one that's a 6-unit apartment building. And here's another one. And here's another one. And there's even more properties, but I'm done driving around wasting my gas, and I feel you guys understand. I thought owning rental properties would be a great source of income, but boy, was I wrong. Yes, we were cash flowing around $600 a door. Yes, that's over $13,000 a month. And yeah, we were successful on paper. But in real life, I was equity rich and cash poor. And when I'm telling you broke, I had to check my bank account before I could even get gas. Sometimes the account was in the negatives. Honestly, the more properties we bought, the more broke I felt. You know, if something went bad, literally cash flow would be gone like that. If a roof went out, if we needed new windows, if there was a leak, money was just going. Social media honestly won't tell you this. If you own a lot of rentals, that does not mean you make a lot of money. And if you're building a rental portfolio but don't have another side of active income, you're definitely going to regret it because you need some money set aside in reserves.
So that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.